We bring in our first guests this morning here to talk about a very important program, a very important organization, the Plummer Home, which was founded in 1844 and helps children in need of parents, foster parents, and eventually a stable home. And joining us in the studios right now is the program director for Plummer Foster Care, is Marie-Luz Arling. Good morning, Marie-Luz. How are you?
Good. How are you?
I'm doing very well. Did I get your name right?
You did that perfectly, and that is rare.
I had a little helper in the studio earlier who gave it to me, and still I almost fumbled it. So, but I'm glad I got it. I love the name. Tell me a little bit about yourself. How long have you been with Foster?
Sure. So I've been doing this work for over 16 years. Started off as an adoption social worker and then went and did foster care. And really the only reason I decided to switch over is because so many foster kids end up lingering in care, and my goal was to ensure that they ended up having permanency in their life, lifelong connections, and not be a statistic and age out of care. Mm-hmm. So that was the passion under why I switched over to foster care.
Yeah. So tell me a little bit about Plummer Home then, and how it helps and how it's different than regular foster care.
Sure. So Plummer Home is a small organization. They do cover other programs, and the foster care program is fairly new. We started up in 2012, and the program has this model that really wants kids to have a voice and families to be part of the decision-making for children. And I think the thing that makes us stand out is the model, and really seeing over the 2 years, many children end up in permanent legal homes, but also have many people around the table that can help them navigate day-to-day activities that they can trust and count on. And I find that, unfortunately, not many kids can say that is happening for them, and we really drive that in our mission and vision for every kid that comes to our program.
For those who don't know, how does foster care normally operate? It sounds like it doesn't. They don't do and go to the extents that you do.
You know, I think overall, everyone who works in a foster care program really wants kids to end up in families. I think what makes us stand out as an organization, Plummer, we do have a specific model, and we are trying to get outcomes that really are able to demonstrate that our model is working. So I can't speak for other organizations on kind of how they get kids into permanent homes, but I can say that our organization is one that definitely has a strategic plan to get that to happen.
Now, the Plummer Home was founded in 1844, and it operated in Salem, Massachusetts, correct? But then moved to Lowell a couple of years ago?
So we're still in Salem. That is our group home program. We have a pre-IL, pre-independent living program in the Salem, and we also have an on-point program. So foster care is our only program in Lowell. So they just expanded out and really wanted to touch more communities and change more kids' lives in the Merrimack Valley area. And we just felt like Lowell would be a really good central location to be able to do that.
Where is the home located in Lowell?
So it's on 278 Broadway Street, Lowell, Mass. And I just want to, for those who are listening and you hear our name Plummer, it is extremely unique. We actually do not use B. We do not fix toilets. But we have 2 M's, and it's Plummer Foster Care, and we really want people to just come, walk in. It's an open door policy. Please give us a call. Our main number is 978-935-9555. We just really, really are struggling in getting families to really want to be families for foster kids. And I think it's a great journey. And Patty just walked in, one of our foster parents, and she just has an array of experiences and can kind of speak on kind of how we as an agency hopefully have impacted your life in a positive way, Patty.
Yeah, Patty Graham is here, an experienced foster parent with Plummer Foster Care. Good morning. Welcome to the show.
Good morning. Thank you.
Great to have you. How long have you been a foster parent?
We have been involved with foster care for the past 7 years.
Why, if I might ask?
Why?
Yeah, what made you?
I had some experience with foster care. My mom was in foster care, so I was familiar with the terminology at a young age. And she would tell us stories, and I just thought, they weren't good stories. This was back in the 50s. And I just always had it in my mind that I could do better, and it was something that I always wanted to do. So once I kind of had some time to pick up the phone and call, I was nervous, I was hesitant, and I'm pretty familiar with it. I had also worked in a group home with kids that are out-of-home placements and group homes. So picked up the phone and called. My husband was a little reluctant. I just asked him to please come along, let's go to the training. We're not committing to anything. And each week we went to the training, he felt more and more inclined, like, yes, this is what we have to do, absolutely. So we had our first placement. My daughter came to us at 13. She's 20 now, and we finalized her adoption 3 years ago. Her twin brother has also lived with us for 2 years, is actually spending the holidays with us now. And then they have an older sister who is also involved in our lives.
And how is this experience that your foster children are going through different from what you understood and experienced through your mom?
Well, I'm the mom.
That's a big one right there.
As my daughter says, I'm bossy. So I'm the leader of the pack. This is different. I don't know, because, what my mom tells me is very negative, and she's always telling me, like, how lucky my kids are and how lucky, how different foster care is now. And it is very different. I think part of what makes that difference is the support that we receive from the agency. We don't have biological children. I've never been a parent before. I've only kind of been group home staff. So this was a new experience for us to parent, and to parent a teenager, and then 3 of them. So it was pretty interesting. But there was, Plummer really taught us the philosophy of it takes a village. We were never in this alone. They were always there to support us. Whether it's getting us connected to services, telling us about different things that we didn't know about, just having a crazy time, someone to understand you, because people who don't have foster kids can't necessarily relate to parents. The same kind of issues that we have are a little bit different. They're a little bit more intense with foster kids.
Yeah. I don't want to get too personal here and delve into your personal finances and whatnot, but do you live in a big house? Do you and your husband make enough money that you don't have to worry about things, so you can go on and take in as many children? Give me kind of your background a little bit here. And
I'm a social worker, so that's the salary I'm living on.
So I'm assuming either your husband is really rich, or you can still be a good foster parent without money and all the fixings that folks like to think about, right?
I didn't take my grandmother's advice and marry for money. No, actually, we're just, we're here in the Lowell area. We're in Drake-it. I'm a social worker. I work 2 part-time jobs. My husband doesn't make a ton of money. It's not really about the money. It's about providing the family to these children, and having experiences. The first Christmas that we had our kids, we had all the kids over on Christmas Eve, and they all spent the holidays. It was the first time they had slept under the same roof in years. So things like that is what matters, not so much the money. I will say that there's a stipend with foster care that, in my opinion, has allowed us to provide for our kids very adequately. Our kids aren't being made fun of because they don't have the coolest things. They might not have the coolest things, but, their needs are being met, and in my opinion, adequately.
How long did it take your kids to adjust to the new situation? I've been told that that's one of the bigger problems. The foster kids who have bounced around for so long, it really does take them a while, and sometimes they never feel like they really are part of the family. Have you gotten past that hurdle with your
It's
children?
Interesting because I have 3 siblings. My daughter is the only one who wanted to be adopted. And Mary Lou's met with her well before we met her, and I think did a lot of work. You could probably speak to that, but did a lot of work with her about, are you ready for a family? What is it you're looking for in a family? So she was ready. By the time she came to us, she was ready. She said one time after a month or so, like, after a while, I think I might just, call you, Mom. So I thought, well, that's okay. You can call me whatever feels comfortable to you.
What did that feel like the first time she did?
Okay, this is a funny story. She was in an after-school program, and I went to pick her up, and she said, and there was a whole bunch of kids there, and she said, "Mom," and I looked behind me to see who she was talking to.
Oh, that's sweet.
No one's ever called me Mom before. I totally missed that endearing moment.
It sounds like you've relived it a time or two since then in your mind.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
But and then so she was ready for a family. Her two siblings, they weren't quite ready. One just wanted to remain in foster care, and he lived with us, but he didn't. We clearly weren't his mom and dad, and that was fine. However he wants to identify with us. And their sister, I think, she also didn't want to be adopted, and I think she, we go with the aunt and uncle. She likes us as aunt and uncle, but she's as much of, they're all three of our kids.
That'll work as well. Marie Luz, I want to bring you back into this. How many families do you use a year? How many children are serviced a year?
So we currently have 15 families, and that's why we're here today. We need so many more.
I was going to say the need. I'm looking out at our broken society today,
yes.
and I'm thinking there has to be a lot more kids in Lowell alone that need the types of folks that Patty and her husband are.
Yes, I would say there's approximately 200 kids in Lowell who are waiting to be placed in families. I receive calls daily from the referral agency asking us, do you have a home for this 16-year-old? Do you have a home for newborn twins? Do you have the age, there's such an array of need for the age and families, and we have to say, no, we don't right now. And that's why we're here today, because we really want people to just pick up the phone or visit us at 278 Broadway Street. Call us 978-935-9555, because we will just talk to you, and it's not just because you call us doesn't mean you're going to get a child tomorrow. It doesn't work that way. We have such a very thoughtful clinical process. We work with the family, we work with the kids, and we want to make a match that that is going to be successful. So there's so many kids who need families, and we don't have many families, and we're ready. We have a full staff that can get families trained. They go through a vigorous process. I'm not going to pretend that it isn't, but it's necessary. And we hold everyone's hand. We really are supportive, like Patty mentioned. You call us, we will call you right back. And it ends up being a process for families who are even thinking about it. If you have ever thought about it, I really, really encourage you to give us a call. For us to be able to just have a discussion.
It's 8 o'clock here on 980 WCAP. I'm going to override the ABC News because I want to keep it here for a couple of minutes and talk a little bit about what those requirements are and how folks can go about becoming foster parents through the Plummer Foster Care Home. We're chatting with Marie Luz Arling, the program director of Plummer Foster Care, and one of the parents, actually, from Plummer Foster Care, Patty Graham. All right. First of all, where do the people have to live in Lowell, Marie Luz? Can they live in any of the surrounding communities?
Families can live anywhere. We are really open. We are located in Lowell, but as Patty said, she lives in Dracut. We have families in the Worcester, Southbridge area. We have families in Lynn. We are really open to meeting families where they're at, because there are kids in every community, and we want to be able to foster those relationships that those kids already have in those communities. So we look at you give us a call and we will work with you. Okay, so we know from Patty they don't have to live in those Belvedere mansions or own a Fortune 500 company. What are the requirements? Do you need to be a two-parent house? I almost said husband and wife, but will two-parent households do? Will gay and lesbian couples be able to become foster parents as well? Absolutely. We do not discriminate. Single parents, two parents, you don't have to own a home. You do not have to be rich. Really what we're looking for are people who can be committed, have a heart, a home, a place that you are living in. Are there minimum income requirements? The requirements for income is you have to at least be getting some type of income in order to be able to take care of this kid. Because as Patty mentioned, there is a stipend, but sometimes that stipend doesn't cover everything. So families do have to at least have a job or a part-time job or be getting some type of monies that are coming into their home.
Patty and her husband don't have any naturally born children. Will you place kids in homes with parents who already have a family and children?
Absolutely, we will. Yeah, it's a great question. Thanks for asking it.
What types of I would imagine a minimum some type of criminal Corey check goes into this as well.
You are very knowledgeable. Yes.
No, I'm not. I'm actually. These are the kind of questions I'd ask. Not that I have anything in my background that would disqualify me. There's no spouse. That's what would disqualify me. But
that will not disqualify you.
So
I can be a man, a single woman, two parents.
You don't know me that well. You would disqualify me in a heartbeat.
I'm having a good feeling here. So you do not hesitate to call us.
Yeah. So there will be a check, but they're not going through people's tax records, I assume, correct?
That's correct. I mean, there is a background record check, and there are things clearly that potentially could disqualify families, but we do everything to work with families on their record check and really walk through that process with them. But that is something that is mandatory, as well as fingerprinting is something that has to always be completed before we place a kid.
So you heard it from Marie-Luz, 15 families that they're currently working with their heart. Marie-Luz, please let them know again how they can contact you, find out more about this program, and more importantly, how we can start getting some more folks signed up.
Wonderful. There are a few ways to, first, you can call us at 978-935-9555. If you are shy and you don't want to call, please check out our website at Plummer, not with a B, it's 2 M's, .com. And also, it's Plummer Home, plummerhome.org. And also, we have Twitter. You can also just stop by at 278 Broadway Street in Lowell, Massachusetts, and we would be more than happy to greet you and have more conversations with you.
All right, Marie-Luz Arling, thank you so much for taking the time to join us this morning. Patty Graham, thank you as well, and thank you for you and your husband for opening your homes and your hearts.
Thank you, and thank you for having us all this morning.
All right.
Thank you.
Pleasure is all ours.